What is the status of your request for looking into alternative power suppliers for the city?
We have met with Nevada Power, we have met with a few others. We continue to meet. I don't believe that there's been any meetings in the last couple of weeks. I will be asking Mr. Baker to put together a report once again to see where we're at. I believe that Nevada Power came back and said they wouldn't be interested in serving us. So we continue to look for different sources. There's been some gas companies that are interested. There's a whole new dynamic out there. And one of the concerns that I think we need to take a look at and make sure, and I've met with Overton Power and met with the representatives of Overton Power over the last couple of weeks to share my concerns. And hopefully that dialogue is helping. We need to have a more progressive power company here in Mesquite.
Okay.
We need to be taking advantage of some of the things that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's obviously solar power is an issue. There are some federal mandates, there are some rules and regulations. Certain companies, like I believe it's Valley Electric, is that correct?
Right.
Have a huge advantage over Overton Power when it comes to that type of service,
Mm-hmm.
where you would build solar screens and send that power down the line to people in California or whoever needs it. Valley Electric obviously has a huge advantage over a lot of power companies when it comes to that. I know that in talking to them, they're still interested. They would like to take a look at that a little more deeper. And we'll see what happens. I would hope that we can work out things with Overton Power. They have a number of things that they need to deal with. And we as voters need to make sure that we're watching that very closely.
Okay. You just mentioned the gas company, and you know, in a lot of the conversations that I've had over the last years, but more recently, one of the major gaps in Mesquite's infrastructure is the lack of natural gas, and that is becoming more and more apparent
Mm-hmm.
as a detriment to businesses coming into Mesquite.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're working on anything specifically, but what are your thoughts about closing that gap in our infrastructure and making some significant effort to bring natural gas, at least for businesses, into Mesquite?
Well, the natural gas power plant is working through its studies. They're hoping not to go through major EIS studies at this point.
And that's the Toquap?
That's the Toquap gas
Okay.
power plant. They're looking to generate power, sell it down the line. That will bring gas a lot closer
Mm-hmm.
to where we need it. The city itself has looked at gas for many, many years.
Yes.
And the sticking point has always been who's going to pay for it to come in. If and when this power plant goes online, and I would hope that it goes online because that means more jobs. It's a great fit for the city. We will be able to have some economic development, plus get those gas lines a lot closer. Now we're looking at an option that we can bring those gas lines into the technical center so that we can have gas available for companies there.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly that would help us with economic development. So it's one of those options we have to work through as we find more and more viability for that project. We are talking to the federal people to let them know to, do what you can to make sure we get this thing on and
Okay.
moving. So that's really the best option we have for gas right now coming into the community. There's some other companies that have come to us and said, hey, we'd be interested, but we don't have gas here. So, and it's a major problem. and we need to find a way to solve that. And I think the best option we have right now is that gas-powered electrical plant.
Okay.
That should be able to bring that line a lot closer to us.
Do you know when that construction is supposed to start?
I don't.
Top of your head? I don't
You know,
really.
they've said, you know, when he talked to us, it was 18 months, but as they go through the federal process for studies and wildlife and making sure that we take care of all of those things, that can set you back a long ways.
Okay.
So we're hoping that those things are smooth and moving forward. We'll have another report, I'm sure, within the next couple of months, and I can certainly report on that. But as of right now, we are waiting to see what the federal government wants to do, the BLM wants to do with regards to the studies that need to take place, the EIS, and whatever impact they're going to have out there.
Okay. Are you satisfied with the noise ordinance that was recently passed by the City
Yes.
Council?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We worked with all the parties involved over many months. I know that there is a certain segment that is not happy at all. I don't think anybody's really happy with the noise ordinance.
I was going to ask you which
pretty much-
segment is that's.
One is really not happy, the rest are just not happy with it. But we needed to have an ordinance that was, number one, enforceable. Number two, we needed to look at what is the best way for us to approach this and find that middle ground. At this point, this is the best way to find that middle ground. I know that there was some concern about whether or not this was, you know, safe, whether or not the noise levels were going to be safe for the people. And if you look at all the studies, we are well within all the guidelines for safety when it comes to the EPA and all of those things. The interesting part is the EPA has published some guidelines that they flat out come out and say these are not regulatory, these are guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
They say safety for noise is 70 decibels measured at the ear. And you can hear that all day long, every day, for the rest of your life, and you will never have any damage to your hearing, according to the EPA. 70 decibels at the ear.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking 75 and 65 from the property line. I don't know what kind of insulation they have in their homes, so obviously that's going to cut as they go inside the homes. One of the things that I was very happy to see was when all of this started to take place, I received a phone call, the first one they had, with a complaint regarding the language that was being used.
Yes.
And they were right.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You don't use that type of language, and I met with
And
members.
just so everybody understands, it was the language, as I understand it, the DJ was using on the loudspeaker
Right,
was vulgar and
the public address system, there was vulgar language being used,
Yeah.
A lot of sexual connotations brought out, and absolutely, I received probably 15 phone calls
okay.
on that issue alone. Within 2 to 3 days, I had the management of Casablanca sitting over in that office,
Uh-huh.
and we discussed in very frank terms that they will not use that type of language on any public address system.
Okay.
And to their credit, it has never happened again. As far as I know, I've never heard another complaint about vulgar language coming across.
Okay.
Okay? And if it does, by all means, cite them.
Yeah.
Please cite them. They're wrong. You don't do that. Some of the arguments were, well, it's nothing different than what you hear on HBO. Well, there's a big difference in that. HBO, number one, a person pays for. I can walk into the room and turn it off.
Yeah, that's what
And-
I
and
was
it's
just
gone.
going to say.
A PA system, it's ringing a bell. Once you ring a bell, you can't unring it. It's out there, it's already done. So, and that's why there has to be a higher level there. If they're going to, if DJs are going to use that kind of language, they have to understand that there's going to be a problem here in the city of Mesquite. That's unacceptable, and I don't believe anybody believes that that was acceptable.
Okay.
And that has, as far as I know, been completely solved. And again, to the credit of the casinos and the people working together, we've met on a number of occasions with the people involved, with the casinos, at their request, to try and work through this. Obviously, again, not everybody is happy. Maybe no one's happy at this point. And what they say about government, if no one's happy, it's probably a pretty good compromise.
Yeah.
So, and again, if the levels are too high, we're going to know about it. We can certainly come back to this, amend it, make changes. It's not like ordinances are set in stone and it's over with. That's the end of it. We'll never discuss this again. That isn't true. And with this council, especially with this council has been more than willing to listen to the complaints and listen to the opinions and solutions of the residents. They're very open to that, and it's one of the things that really we should be very proud of, that our council is very much willing to listen. We might not always solve it the way everybody wants it solved, but I don't think we can do that. I think we just need to do our best and to keep it open and honest.
Well, apparently we're going to see how the the noise ordinance works.
Ninth.
The 9th, yeah.
The 9th.
So I'm sure I'll see you out there.